Target found. Time to destroy. 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 What? That was a weird dream. Whew. Dreaming I was a Terminator. That's something, wasn't it? Whew. Okay. What time is it? I guess it's time to destroy. Hello and welcome back to the Ken OE channel. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man series. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode, and for today we'll be talking about Marvel Legends Spider-Man, but he's in the homemade suit. They pretty much took the design from Ben Reilly, add a few tweaks and inverted the color, but it works with Ben Reilly's design and it also works with this one. But before we get into all that, let's take a look at his box. The same box design as the previous Spider-Man, got the same name, side art, no love for the homemade suit. But at least at the back you got a picture of him posing, so something different. And at the bottom, as usual, the Build-A-Figure wave, so that's pretty much it for the box. So let's open him up and take a closer look. Looking closer at Spider-Man homemade suit, he doesn't look too bad. However, if I were to be extremely nitpicky, I'd say this face sculpt is not 100% accurate to what's depicted in the movie. For example, his eyes for this figure doesn't protrude as much as what's shown in the movie, and it looks like it's flush with the mask on certain angles. It would have looked more accurate if they pushed the eyes out a little further. However, these are all minor gripes and I still think this head sculpt doesn't look too bad. The logo on his sweater came out looking really good. There's plenty of molding detail that went into the design of this figure, plenty of creases around his sweater, although his sweater is a little bit more body hugging than what the movie shows, but I understand if they did that it would have compromised his ab crunch, so I can live with that. The paint application also turned out pretty well except for his interchangeable hands, which I'll show more in the accessory department. Blue and red came out looking really nice, and also you have metallic silver painted on his web shooters. However, not as accurate as the movie, has the cartridges in silver but the strap in red, and they missed out on the webbing details on his gloves. Moving down to the legs, at least they molded the lines on his socks. A few additional things I also like to highlight is the absence of a butterfly joint, which is a shame since they did it for the previous Spider-Man figure but not for this one, and I don't understand why they can't just include it since I don't see how it would ruin the look of this figure, but it's a small factor and I can live without the joint, but it would just be great to have it. Another thing is that his calf rotation starts at the bottom of the fold, which results in him looking like this when you rotate his lower leg. It just looks weird. I can understand why they decided to do so, maybe they didn't want the cut too close to the knee joint, but I prefer if they just reduce the size of the sock fold and start the cut at the top, that way it wouldn't look like his calf rotates independently from his leg when you twist it. However, once again, I like to point out that these are really minor gripes, as the butterfly joint would just add slightly more range to his arm movement, and if you don't like the calf rotation, he still has a tie cut swivel, which I will show more in the articulation portion of the video. But overall, it doesn't take away the fact that this figure still looks pretty good. Moving on to his articulation. His head is connected on a ball joint, so he can look up and down, but it reveals the usual bulge behind the neck, and there's a slight head pivot. And with his hood on, he can still look up a little and down as well, although it'll be a little tricky to do so. His arm can do the 360, move outwards that far, bicep swivel, bicep flex, wrist does the 360 and move up and down. He has a typical Legends ab cut, so he can crunch forward and he can arch backwards that far. He also has a lower ab cut, which allows him to perform the Twist King. Like the previous Spider-Man figure, he can still do the splits, but not as far as I would have liked them to be. He can kick up, he can kick back, but it kicks outwards. He's got a thigh cut swivel, double jointed knees, weird calf 360 rotation. His feet moves up and down, and he can do the pivots. So Homecoming suit's got the butterflies, he's got the weird calf rotation. Nonetheless, this Spidey can still move pretty well. Moving on to his accessories. He comes with interchangeable hands, an interchangeable hoodie, and the right wing of the Vulture for his Build-Figure accessory. He is already equipped with fisted hands, and as mentioned earlier, he also comes with a web shooting hands. However, I wish it was painted a little better than this. Come on, Marvel Legends! It also comes with a hoodie up accessory, so you can either have his hood up or down depending on which collector you are. And to change his hood, simply pop his head out and place his head into his hood and pop his head back in. Depending on your figure, it may be a little bit tricky or tight to pop his head back in, but as you can see, once it's in, it'll all blend in nicely. And for the Build-A-Figure, just like the left wing mentioned in the first episode, nicely sculpted and painted. Though I'm glad they provided a few playable accessories, that being the hoodie and the hands. I wish they provided more accessories, maybe an interchangeable head with the eyes all squinty as well, or maybe the web crawling hands, but what we're getting justifies what we're paying. And here's a height comparison with other figures. So, in summary, I still think that this is a good package to have. I felt like they paid more attention to detail in the first figure compared to this one, and even though it doesn't look 100% accurate as was depicted in the movie, you'd still have a nice looking figure on your shelf, and it does come with enough playable accessories and a good amount of articulation. If this was the only 6-inch figure ever produced of the homemade suit, I'd still be happy to have this in my collection. That concludes today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, which would really help me and I would be very grateful. And also do not forget to subscribe for more videos about toys and more. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are your feelings towards this figure? Would you get it, or it just doesn't look good enough? I'd like to know. Share it with me, share it with the world. And once again, I hope you guys are embracing the inner Spidey within you and having fun. And as always, thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys at episode 3 of the Spider-Man series.
Click here to enjoy more videos.